Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we're going to be working on the Chevelle. It's got a Sniper EFI, and it's having a problem with a high idle. If you're having that issue, stay tuned. All right, guys, so this is my old Chevelle here. It's a 427 big block with a Sniper EFI. Now, I've had this Sniper on here for years, and I've had zero issues with it. But lately it has developed an issue. It's a manual car, so when I'm coming up to a stop sign, pushing the clutch, the idle would hang at like 2,000 RPMs. If I blipped the throttle, just gave it a whop, it would come right back down to where I wanted, around 900, and this thing would idle just fine. But as soon as you'd give it light throttle, let off, it would hang at like 2,000 RPM. It was really high. Way too high to be trying to drive around on the street. Is pretty dangerous. So being a manual, I could push in the clutch and kind of save it. If you were on automatic, it'd be tough to keep that thing on the brakes and just keep it from running into somebody. So first I was looking at fuel pressure and I was looking at all kinds of things. I thought maybe it was something with the return spring. So I put a heavier return spring to make sure the primaries were closing all the way. They were. Ended up being the secondaries. The secondaries have a return spring also. And what would happen is your primary would slam shut and the secondary has a spring where it should return, but it was not returning all the way. But if you blip the throttle, just kind of whoop, it would shock it enough to where it would slam those closed and it would be at a good idle. So I'll show you real quick how to evaluate that so that you can see if that's what's happening on your car, if you're having the same issue, and then we'll get right into how to fix it. All right, so the first thing we want to do is get the air cleaner off and out of the way so you can access the Sniper EFI. Got that out of the way, you want to come right in here to where your linkage for your throttle is, and I'll show you where the primary, secondary is and the spring you're going to be looking at. All right, guys, so coming in here to your throttle body, mine has a throttle rod, yours might have a cable. Your return spring's right here. You're going to pop this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. And now this controls your primary butterflies. This piece over here controls the secondaries. This rod linkage is what ties them together. So when you give it gas, it pulls on this, and you can see this part here opening the secondaries. So it automatically opens it. What was happening is when I would come off the gas, this would tend to hang open like this, right? Not all the way, but just a little bit, okay? And that was a real problem because it was causing a high idle. You definitely don't want that happening. That's a real problem. So how I checked it is, the car was running, it was in neutral with the e-brake on. I had somebody in the car, and while it's running, I could give it gas by hand or have them hit the throttle on the inside, and just a little bit of throttle, and then when it would let off, when it would start idling high and hanging up like it does, I just took this piece here and just kind of pulled back with my hand, boop, and I could see it was sticking. It would be like this, I'd pull like this, car would idle down, so I knew this was my problem. So how you're gonna fix that? Let's take a look in here at the spring. All right, guys, so your throttle spring, it wraps around the secondary throttle shaft and sits in this groove right here, okay? So it's right here, and you can see it just sits in there, all right? And that's what holds it in place. Just kind of slides over, boom, sits right there. The other side is right here, is a little hook, and it hooks on this post. So that's the other side of it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this side right here, we're gonna pull it up and around, and wrap it around, pull it back up through here, and set it back in this groove. That'll give it one extra wrap, apply more tension to the secondary, and keep this baby closed. I'll show you a little trick to do that. It is a pain in the butt, I ain't gonna lie, but you can do it while it's on the car. All right, guys, so what you're gonna need is a pick, a zip tie, and some needle nose. This is the way I found the easiest to do it, so I'm sure there's other ways you could do it, but take your zip tie, you're gonna run the end of this spring through the end of your zip tie, okay? So you just wanna place it, I'm hoping you can see this. Place it right on the end, kind of pick it up with your pick a little bit, so you can just get that, guide it in there, slide it all the way down to the base of the spring. Okay, so now we're in, hopefully you can see that. Take your zip tie, route it down this way and back up through the linkage, because we're going to want to spin that around and have it come right back up through there, okay? So now, should look something like that, okay? So we've got that wrapped around. Now, to pull, you can pull this by hand, but it's gonna be difficult. So you wanna take your needle nosers and just kind of wrap this up a little bit, okay? And that'll just give you a little more leverage, okay? So you wanna hold that with one hand, get your pick, give this a tug. Make sure you don't catch on any linkage like I am right there. Pull it around, and just pull the spring over so that you can pull it up through. Can be tricky, that is for sure. Just keep pulling. Like I said, this is a pain. Doing it on camera is even worse. And that is not it. So give her another shot. So get her wrapped on there. Like I said, it's difficult and it can definitely take a couple tries. So don't give up on the first one. Pull her up through. Boom. It's on there. Now, way more tension, and that feels real nice. So I like to kind of bend this just a little bit because you can see that tail's short. So just give it a little bit there just for some extra security. And you can see now that's slamming closed nice. So you will not have that issue. And if this was your issue in the beginning, this is definitely going to solve it. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap it up right there. Don't forget to hook up your throttle control cable or your control rod, whatever your setup is. Throw the air cleaner back on. If your secondaries were sticking open like mine were and you troubleshot it down to that, this will get you back on the road and back on the road quick. You could probably do this in about 10 minutes. You don't have to take throttle body off, anything like that. I feel like this zip tie method is the easiest way to do this. You could try using just, picks and some needle nose pliers and try and wrap it around without the zip tie if you want. I feel like that's a lot more difficult and this is easier. You might not get it on the first shot. If you don't get it on the first shot, that's okay. Took me a couple rounds. If you do get it on the first shot, that is awesome. Congratulations on that. But if you don't, it takes you 3-4 shots and you still ain't got it, walk away, take a break, come back to it, because this will definitely get this thing dialed in and ready to go so you're not stressing out while you're driving. Why is it idling high? It'll fix that issue if this was your issue. And you'll be back on the road and enjoying this hot rod, because that's what it's all about, is getting out and enjoying these cars, right? So I appreciate you watching. Please like, share the video if you would. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and I really do appreciate it because it's helping the channel grow. And we'll see you in the next video.